Ridgeway, Indiana. It hosts NASCAR's oldest racetrack that dates back to 1948. Being one of the only tracks that is still on the schedule, the paperclip here, 0.526 miles, and the famous grandfather clock is something that all drivers allure to try and achieve. The bumping, the banging, everything on the line here at the paperclip racetrack. Welcome everyone here to Sim TV for tonight's coverage of the Area 51 Truck Series here at the paperclip at the Martinsville Speedway. You're going to have some different names here that I'm sure you haven't heard before, but it's going to be myself, Corey Silva, in the booth with Ande Grandbush here. We're both from PTR TV and 3Y TV, helping out Kyle here at Sim, and Ricky Springer, broadcaster and driver in the series. He'll be giving us a little bit more insight here on what we're going to see here. So welcome here, guys, to Martinsville. Should be a barn burner here. We got a lot of new things to look forward to with what iRacing has presented us in the new build. And of course, classic Martinsville. We all know what that has to bring us.
Yeah, it's good old short track racing. Cars are on track, getting some practice laps in before we go to the qualifying session to sort out that starting grid. But Martinsville and the trucks, there's just something about it. A lot of beating and banging, a lot of close racing, and you really got to look forward to it, especially with this sort of crisp scan. I know iRacing updated Martinsville not too long ago, and it's looking good from where I sit.
Absolutely, and I think this new damage model is really going to be a huge factor here tonight. You know, we talk about the new build and guys having to get used to these new trucks. I mean, these trucks have the new damage model now. These guys can really beat and bang and kind of lay on each other, stuff that we really haven't seen throughout the whole area season or even the truck on iRacing up until present day.
Yeah, of course, for those who may be lesser nuance to the iRacing service, you know, we do have the season build, so this is officially on the iRacing schedule, week number 1. So these guys have had 1 week to deal with this new damage model, which is both more forgiving and more difficult at the same time. Here you can see the 66 on the back of the shot there having some problems, and a little bit of for us as broadcasters, this is a well-given update. Martinsville looks significantly more, as I say, pretty. With some updates here to the textures, so kudos to that here on iRacing. But you're top of the board in practice here with a few minutes left. James, and this is my first time, so names are going to be butchered. James Scioli at the number 7 up by over Cameron Hearn by 8 1,000ths of a second. Weishart, Slaughter, and Elwood rounding out your top 5 in practice. Very, very tight time, separated by 3 100ths for the top 5 right now.
Looking all the way back, I mean, back to 30th, it's only about 0.5 of a second separating the field. So these guys, they're all pretty close in pace. If qualifying is going to be that close, then we're in for a pretty good show. But everybody just out there trying to get these laps in, the 26, taking the toe back to pit road, trying to get some fresh tires. But yeah, I don't know. It's looking like the track surface is a little bit slick out there. We've seen a few trucks slipping and sliding. The sun is out. Got to think that pavement's getting pretty hot. Of course, iRacing is multi-surfaced. You've got that patch of concrete, which was actually, fun fact, put in place because the torque that these stock cars have was actually ripping up the asphalt when they would get on the throttle coming out of the corner. So they put in that concrete. It was a little bit more forgiving. And then the rest of the track, they just left as asphalt.
Absolutely, but looking at the practice order, I mean, Scioli at the top of the board, Hearn, Weishart. You know, 2 weeks ago, Scioli came home with the victory at Darlington. Of course, we had the off week for the All-Star break, but he has just been on rails the whole entire area truck season. He's also a Cup regular as well. Really has just kind of put it to these guys in the truck series. Of course, Weishart with a win does not have a win, but has been really trying to get there inside the top 10 in points currently. I mean, a lot of good drivers up inside the top 10. I mean, again, another name to mention is Slaughter in the 8 car. I mean, a lot of great guys. It doesn't surprise me that they're close, but that 7 truck is going to have to be the guy that we watch out for all night long.
Yeah, we'll definitely keep an eye on him. And of course, we are live here on Twitch this evening. A little bit of trouble with the YouTube simulcast, so if you are watching, welcome to Twitch. Race fans, be sure to subscribe to Area iRacing Twitch channel. Of course, if you are watching it now, make sure you hit the subscribe. But also, for only $5 a month, you can watch all area broadcasts live and commercial free. You can use new area iRacing emotes in the chat. You'll also earn double channel points as a subscriber that you can reuse to redeem for free merchandise here. So if you are watching and you want to consider helping the league out in a more in-depth way, that option is available to you here. But now we are closing in on the end of practice here, which means none other than whoa, we just saw someone just absolutely mutilate themselves there on the pit wall. But let's get ready for some hot laps right now.
And this is what it's going to come down to. Track position is pretty important at Martinsville. Not the easiest track to pass. Tends to be one lane right around the bottom. And if you can start up front and you can maintain that pace, there's a good chance you're going to stay there. So qualifying is going to be pretty important for these guys. And if the practice was anything to go off, it's going to be close. There's the number 26 machine out on track. He's not waiting for a cloud. He's not waiting for anything. He's out there posting his time, and he's going to get out and away, taking that green flag to kick off our qualifying session.
Yeah, JT Poole going off into turn 1 here in the 26 machine. But I'm seeing a whole lot of different strategies out here in qualifying. A bunch of guys going out right now when the cloud cover is out. The track's starting to cool down a little bit. JT Poole looks like he misses the bottom there going into 3. But just a bunch of different strategies, and that's something that kind of gets to me about this league, especially running in the Cup Series, is that everybody is just on a different strategy, even in qualifying, of when you're going to go out. Track temperatures fluctuate. If it's a race in the afternoon, you want to go out later to let the track cool down, or possibly wait on a cloud, and even as much as the wind could come into play at a track above a mile and a half. Thankfully here, you don't have to worry about that too much, but Cameron Hurd in the 4 car obviously isn't having any issues as he's above Scioli now on the point.
Mitchell looked like he was going to improve on that second lap, but he got a little bit squirrely coming out of 4, and I think that cost him what would have been a podium starting position, at least provisionally. Number 5 finishing up his qualifying effort, not quite able to crack the top 5, but he is P9 currently
that's
with a
Bryce.
19.4, and Bryce in the 09. He's going to have a bit of a spin coming out of 4.
A little bit of a slide there in 3 and 4, just try to overcook the brakes, try to get down to the bottom, just not able to do so. So that 09 will have to relegate back to the 14th spot. So actually, I don't think he got an official time here. So we have 14 guys actually on track at 25.6 for Bryce there. So that is not going to win any awards here. Still waiting on half the field to come down. Only about 2 or 3 cars on track, well, trucks rather. Probably just maybe trying to see the bar that has been set at that 34 set by Hearn. Look at the 97 of Philip York on track right now.
You want to hug that bottom, stay as close to that curb as you can get without actually touching it. Ricky mentioned earlier, one of these drivers missed the bottom. It cost them their lap time. That's the game you got to play, and it is a game of inches, because if you do hit that curb, your lap time's pretty much done. That's going to jostle that truck, get it unsettled, but you got to ride as low as you can. The 32 now completing what I believe is going to be his second lap, running it through 3 and 4, coming towards Barney in the flag stand. What is it going to be?
It's Ted Wade, and he will go to 16th, so not the run he probably would have hoped for. Alan Elwood, he was pretty quick in practice here, and you can see going all the way up to the top, getting as good of a run to start finish as possible. Every mile an hour will count as a few hundredths on the stopwatch, and let's see if he can challenge for this pole position.
Yeah, and these trucks here as well at Martinsville are shifting down into 3rd gear. So you might possibly see it there on the tachometer just behind the driver's hands. Kind of the RPMs really jump up when they go off into the corner. They start shifting down at this racetrack, and it just adds another variable that these drivers could mess up, make a mistake. Who knows? But P5. It adds a huge issue there as P5 for the 10 machine.
Now we have the 56 of AJ Roderick. He'll be back in 18th. So currently 21 drivers have taken a time here today at the Martinsville Speedway, an area truck series here on Twitch. So Corey Silva, Andre Grunbush, and Ricky Springer here. So a completely new trio here giving you calls here today, but we will do the best we can. If there's butchers on the names, again, if anybody is in chat and we say a name wrong, please feed the information. We do have our ways to get that back up to the booth. Travis Beckner on track, just trying to get the last few drivers here to turn in some time so we could have a solidified running order. That's going to be Dustin Scruggs in the 22. He's on track in that Toyota.
Again, just trying to hug that bottom, but it's just coming in a little bit hot, a little bit off the bottom and
yeah,
loose
that's
out
not
of the
ideal.
corner. That's something you're going to see a lot of, especially with Ricky mentioning these guys downshifting. Third gear is going to give you a whole lot of torque, so you got to have a lot of throttle control. You do not want to break the rear end of that truck loose, because once it goes, it's going. There's not going to be a whole lot of saving it.
Absolutely not, especially if you shift down a little too early. I mean, you get into a wheel hop situation where those rear tires start to chatter on you. And I feel like that's a situation we could see a lot more in the race, getting hard into the brakes behind 1, 2, 3, 4 trucks that are stacking up going into the corner. You start to wheel hop, there's nothing you can do but hold on and just hope you don't hit the guy in front of you hard enough to spin him around as we watch the 22 machine work his way into turn 3.
Scruggs back 22nd in the number 22 car here, and I'm just kind of looking back at the schedule here. Of course, we've been given some of the informative information. Well, that's what information is it is informative here. And I'm just going back the last few races. These guys have been on quite the difficult schedule here, going back 2 races to North Wilkesboro. Last race at Darlington, won by James Scioli there. And then coming here to Martinsville. So that is 3 very difficult tracks in a row. So really probably will test the cream of the crop of who is the ones to look for over the course of the season. Next week or next race going to Atlanta, which is going to be a little bit more of a free-for-all. But definitely these guys, if you are not a fan of these skill tracks, these last few races must have been very difficult for you.
I'd have to imagine a lot of these drivers are probably beating their head on the steering wheel, getting ready to go to a slightly easier track. You know, I know everybody behind the wheel, they like a driver's track. They like a track that lets a good driver be good. But you get 3 tough tracks in a row, and it really depends on the momentum. You know, if you have a good first race, you carry that momentum through, that's one thing. But if you start stumbling, have a few bad races, you look ahead on the schedule and see that things aren't going to be getting any better. That is never fun. But like you said, Atlanta next week, that is going to be a complete wild card race. Ever since they repaved Atlanta, made it into a pseudo super speedway, especially with these trucks, it's going to be borderline full throttle the entire time. So it'll be kind of a strategy game more than anything else, but could not be any different from what we're going to see here. And there's that wheel hop situation that Ricky mentioned, getting into the corner. A little bit of lockup from the number 3. He was able to keep it straight, however, so that's definitely a benefit there. He completes his qualifying effort. He's going to slow it to a halt and lower up there in turn 1.
Scruggs must be on his 87th lap here. I think he's one of the ones, and this is a good strategy to use. I mean, obviously you only get 2 time laps, but why not just use the rest of the timer and just use it as extra practice laps? So seeming to be what Dustin Scruggs is doing there.
Yeah, I'm taking a look back at it now. He's on his 12th lap, to be exact, going around the track after his 2 qualifying laps.
Well, you know, Martinsville is not an easy track, and if you can squeeze in a little bit of extra practice, why not? You know, get that warm-up in, because once that green flag flies, that's it. You're racing. There is no more prep time, and we are quickly approaching that. So you see that a lot on iRacing. Of course, this service doesn't really have a penalty system for anybody staying out on track, and every car going out to qualify is a localized instance. They don't share the same track, so nothing really preventing these guys from just going out there, turning some hot laps, and getting a feel for the truck.
Exactly what is going on here, and I think just about everyone who has intent to run a lap will have turned at 5 drivers. Shane Taryn, Danny Ware, Carter Coop, Ryan Olson, and Jacob Bell all have yet to, and presumably may not take time, although they could sneak out here with a minute and a half. You could get 2 laps out of Martinsville. That is a beauty of it. And I'm just looking at some race records here. The league record for the most incident points in a race at Martinsville, there's no way this is right, but I've been reading here, 111 incidents is the most incidents in a Martinsville area truck race. That, I hope we don't get that here. Well, actually, that must be cumulative, I'm assuming.
Yeah, I was going to say, that's got to be a cumulative. There's no way one driver racked that up and was able to keep going.
Yeah, that would score up as the worst race in iRacing history. Yeah, so I'm assuming, yeah, a cumulative total there. But just as I said, Shane Taryn, he going last on the last on the countdown here. He's going to squeak a lap in here with just a nick of time left on the clock here, so we'll see what he can do. 3 and 4, missed the corner entirely. Can he keep it off the fence and get another shot at it? Well, he will do that. Will he take another shot at it? Looks like that answer is no. He'll have to start 26th, going off that last second strategy.
Yeah, I don't really know if that was kind of where he wanted to be. I mean, that's pretty late on in this qualifying session here to go out. I mean, the track is only getting hotter and hotter. I don't know, maybe if he had something else to deal with and just got back in the nick of time to turn a lap, but 26th is not the place you want to be here at Martinsville, with really not a lengthy race if you think about it on a track that's, just at a half mile.
Definitely not what you want to do here, but what we have to do here is to get ready and head down for our Roasted Gems Coffee starting grid. Race fans, start your engine with a fresh cup of Roasted Gems Coffee. Choose from some of the finest coffee beans from Colombia and Peru, or try blended flavors of French vanilla and hazelnut. Use discount code AREA iRacing for 10% off your order at checkout at roastedgems.com. Let's go down trackside and give you a starting lineup here today from the Martinsville Speedway. Starting on the pole position is going to be Cameron Hearn in the 4-car, James Ioli on the outside of the front row. Row number 2 finds Michael Curhan with Brad Slaughter Jr. in 4th, Alan Elwood in 5th, and then we have Greg Mitchell in 6th. 7th spot, well, we just lost the grid there. Let's go dig back and find it. David Weishart in 7th, JT Poole in 8th, and then rounding out your top 10, Travis Beckner and Philip York. He was the incident king there.
Looking just outside the top 10, we got Blaine Harrison in P11. He's going to be starting next to Dean Thompson in 12th. 13th is going to find Garrett Grant, right next to Ricky Harden. 15th belongs to Dylan Lee, and Paul Irvin is going to take 16th for himself. P17, Mason Kane. Justin Munsell, I'm going to assume that's how it's pronounced. P18, again, sorry if we messed that up. Tom Bourne is going to be 19th. Running out the top 20 is going to be Eric Wineland.
Yeah, and then 21st is the 32 machine of Ted Wade. To his outside is the 61 machine of Bronson Sanford. In the 23rd position is AJ Roderick. 24th is Gary Waterworth. 25th is Dustin Scruggs. And again, I'm going to apologize for the pronunciation of names here because some of these guys I don't know very well. The 26th position is the 83 machine of Shane. Just behind him in the 27th position is Ryan Swan. 28 is Bobby in the 54 machine. 29th is Bryce Senesac. 30th, Jacob Bell. 31st, Danny Ware. 32nd, Carter Coop. And Ryan in the 75 machine rounding out the field in 33rd.
Near full field, a little unintentional alliteration and stuttering there. Full field of trucks here today at Martinsville, which is going to be very difficult in the form of getting some clean real estate as well as pitting here. A track that, excuse me, when you are at the back of the field and you need to pit even under yellow, very easy to go a lap down here. So definitely we'll have quite the challenges here on board as we get 1 to go from the police car.
Pitting is going to be a bit of a challenge. You got to make sure you don't spend too much time on pit road, especially if you get damage. And you mentioned it's going to be difficult to find clean real estate, Corey. I don't think it's going to be difficult. I think it's going to be impossible. Once that green flag drops, there's not going to be any clean real estate. It's going to be traffic 24/7, at least until we see some sort of attrition, but that may or may not happen. In the meantime, Pace car is about to make that hard left turn right down pit road, and the field goes in the hands of that Ford truck heading down towards the Geico start/restart zone. And 170 laps ahead of us in our windshield here at Martinsville. Barney's got the green flag in hand.
And there it is. Let's race from the paperclip. We are Green Flag Racing Area 51 Truck Series heading off into turn number 1. It's going to be a side-by-side battle. Still 4 in the 7. Hearn and Scioli battling for that front spot here. Martinsville, traditionally a track, you're going to be right on the bottom, but seemingly that outside has a little bit of grip here to start off lap number 1.
Yeah, and Scioli able to hold it tough on the top there, still trying to battle over Cameron Hearn to try and get that first spot as they're still side by side. Right behind him, Michael Curhan is also trying to battle for that third spot with Brad Slaughter.
number 8 truck of Slaughter trying to take that final step on the podium. If he can make it happen, I'm pretty surprised how good the outside's still holding up. Scioli is not giving up this fight quite yet. He is trying to take the point and not quite able to get there yet. The 24's got to do a little bit of side drafting. I don't know if that's going to work at a short track, but he's attempting it there on Slaughter. These two still 2 by 2 all the way back. You're going to have to go back to about 10th before you find anybody single file. I say that, and then they sort it out all the way back here. The number 26 machine at Poole, he's engaged in a little bit of a battle. He gets a good drive out, and the number 2 is going to have to concede a position.
Oh, battle for the lead.
For the lead, the number 4 still holding strong, driving the number 7 up the track a little bit, getting a little bit rough.
Yep, the 7 really hanging tough there on the outside lane, which is against what everybody really knows here at Martinsville from the front cam of Brad Slaughter. And he's at that position, well, where do I go? And traditionally at Martinsville, you follow the guy on the bottom here. We have some debris there on the inside of the racetrack. That is a new thing here with the trucks, and Barty does not throw debris caution, so they will have to continue on as somebody there. Jacob Bell is less a rear bumper, but all is continuing under green flag conditions.
Yeah, and Jacob Bell makes his way down pit road, hopefully to put a new rear bumper on that machine. But this battle for the lead, I have to imagine being the 4 machine of Cameron Hearn on the bottom of the racetrack, that has to be so frustrating just being stuck down there. At Martinsville, it's one of those tracks you really want to get out to the wall and sweep off of the corner. When somebody on your outside, as he finally makes the pass there, just coming up to 7 laps in the books, and finally a pass for lead, and we're single file through 10th.
It was a hard-fought battle for Hearn to get up into the lead, but it's not quite over yet. Scioli is really applying the pressure, trying to get on that back bumper. I also do want to update on the number 77 of Mel. He did come back down pit road, and caution flag flies. So we have our first incident. Looks like turn 2. Just beyond the wall, we got a plume of smoke. We got some scrap metal down there. The number 12 involved. So we'll try and dig up a replay of that.
Working on it. I'm being informed that Gary Wettersworth, and you can see there a little contact from the 12, and that is probably the sissiest spin you'll see, but that it was enough via race control to deem the yellow flag there. As at Martinsville, not a wide track, so a spin like that does really wad the racetrack up.
And of course, tonight's replay is going to be brought to you by SimWrap Market. Race fans, be sure to visit simwrapmarket.com for custom iRacing paint scheme templates that are simple to use and help you stay more focused on the racetrack. But that is going to get these guys back down to pace speed. And you got to think Hearn's probably pretty frustrated because he thinks, man, I just took the lead. I just got single file. Now he's got to do it all over again.
Yeah, and a couple of people working their way down pit road here. Justin in the number 6 machine has came down. Ted Wade in the 32. The 83 machine is down pit road, and Bronson Stanford is also down pit road. So a few trucks maybe electing a fuel strategy here to try and top off. I mean, if you're at the back of the field, passing can be so difficult here at Martinsville. Why not maybe try and play the game here that if the race does go green all the way, as we see more trucks coming down pit road here?
I agree with you, Ricky. I think if you're going to be able to get any any track position at all, strategy is going to be your friend. And if you can get just a little bit fresher tires, that's going to mean a lot. Tire wear is a big factor here at Martinsville. I do also want to update that number 12 that you see just outside the number 4. He has been given an EOL for that incident back on lap 8, so he will have to serve that penalty as appropriate.
Going to be 5 sets you have laying in the pit road tonight, so quite a few sets to go through, and we'll have to see if these drivers will even use them up. If we get a long green flag run, it would be worth it any chance you get to come down pit road, get 4 fresh Goodyears on this truck, and see what it can do for you. But on the broad side of that, if tire wear isn't a huge issue for these guys, which at Martinsville most of the time it is, but with a new build, you never know. Something could be different, and these drivers are really going to have to play it by ear tonight of what that tire wear is like and how to navigate it to use those 5 sets of tires.
The outside lane did not get the jump they got on that initial start. The number 7 dropping back a couple positions. He's going to apply some pressure to that number 8, but unfortunately he does concede that position. So that puts Slaughter up to P2, and we are single file for the top 3 steps on the podium, which is not what we saw at the start of the race. But we are too wide for 4th place. We've got the number 29 of Weishart down on the bottom. He's trying to wrestle his way around the 24 of Curran, and they're going to try to sort that out. And behind them, you got a few drivers in the catbird seat just trying to watch and wait, see how this battle goes, which lane has the momentum. The number 10 says, looks like the bottom's going. So as the 29 secures that position, he's bringing the 10 in tow. Elwood looking to make the move, and over driving the corner, misses the entry. The 24 is going to get way up there, sliding around, but able to keep it off the fence.
Yeah, and I don't know if that was just overshooting the corner or that wheel hop that we talked about. That's almost what it looked like going off into the corner. The rear end just stepped down on the 24 machine of Curhan, and way up the track he goes, as now we ride on the back bumper, and a caution is out again here on Speedway.
All right, let's go and try and sort out the cause of this one. I didn't see any imminent smoke. It looks as though we'll go off some cues here that are, well, that doesn't look like it's going to be it.
And it's Sanford going down the back straightaway. Looks like he gets sideways going off into turn 3 and hits the inside wall really hard.
And that is going to be the trouble for a lot of these guys when they do get loose. That inside wall is never too far away. Looks like we do have maybe the replay lined up. We're back to live.
Yeah, we are working on it here, so it is just a little bit difficult here. I am a little bit out of my element here, but we are trying to get into a rhythm here with a different set of controls than I am used to. But
we do have some more takers down pit road. I should note that as well. These initial cautions we're getting here are really staggering the strategy, and I think we're going to have a lot of drivers that won't be on such equal footing as this goes on.
Yeah, and I think some of these drivers here were also involved in that crash. It looked to be 2 to 3 trucks on laps, or coming to complete lap 16 going down the back straightaway. Quite a few trucks got tangled up, Doran, and going around on the back straightaway as Jacob Bell still sitting on pit road. He will subside that truck another lap down. And not quite sure if he was a part of that one, but quite a few trucks got some good damage out of this last crash to bring out the caution on them.
Yeah, we'll just try and search very quickly here. I don't want to waste too much time because I'm a little bit behind. Oh, actually, we're getting somewhere here. That's 83 right there. Shane Tier in there. You know what threw me off, Ricky? It was your enunciation of the name, so I couldn't find who you were talking about. So that's why I was a little bit confuzzled there, but the confuzzlement went away. 6 car of truck of Munsell loose into Terry in there. That was the cause of the caution, so apologies for the delay, but we eventually got it, which is all that really matters in the end. Not to quote Lincoln Park there, but Cameron Hearn is on the front row here. Now, if you're James Scioli there in the 7, are you happy now to be on the inside? Because it's easier to read the leader from the inside rather than the outside. So if he gets a good start, maybe he can get himself back in second.
I'm going to say it is definitely better to be on the bottom. Really, you just want to be in whatever lane the leader is in. If he takes the outside, you want to be on the outside. If he's down low, you want to be down low. Also, just a quick update. The number 6 was served an EOL penalty for that incident, so he'll be going to the end of the longest line, and he'll have to race his way back up. But he should be all right. Both those trucks involved seem all right damage-wise. Nothing too bad on the bodywork, and I don't think that was hard enough to bend anything mechanically. So they got a long race ahead of them. We're only on lap 22 out of 170, so if you're going to make these kinds of mistakes, if you're going to get into a wreck, maybe now's the time to do it when you still got time to recover. The 22 working his way off pit road after getting some damage fixed, just barely beating the pace car. We talked about that earlier. You got to be careful, make sure you watch that timing and scoring, but he is going to have to get caught up because the pace car just now pulling into the pits, and again, field going into the hands of that number 7 machine on the bottom. Barney's getting ready to wave that green flag for the 3rd time tonight. They're out and away.
Yeah, and it looks like Hearn with a great restart there, able to pull up in front of Brad Slaughter on the top. Now Scioli and Slaughter are going to battle side by side, and they're 2x2 about 4 rows deep going down the back straightaway all the way through 10th.
Yeah, battling side by side. Everybody's trying to get themselves situated here, but a very congested restart. Hasn't fizzled out as quickly as other ones, but as predicted, the 7 gets sole possession of second rather. Alan Elwood, he's trying to get into third here. Slaughter not able to use that top. Makes me wonder if the top only works on fresh tires later in the run after a couple heat cycles here. They're not seeming to run side by side for nearly as long here. Going back, 66 of Blaine Harrison, 24 of Michael Curhan having some issues, and we have some backwards vehicles on the front straightaway.
Yeah, and that looked like a typical Martinsville crash right there, Corey. Everybody coming out of the corner trying to battle for that real estate right up against the wall, trying to get that wide sweep out of turn 4. And it just looks like there was a truck there. Maybe self-cleared himself, got a little too close as we'll take a look at the replay right here.
Yeah, we'll try to, I guess we'll go from the top down cam here because a lot was going on, so this will probably be the best way to figure it on out. 24 on the top of your screen, 66 loose, washes up the track, and then it just turns into a domino game.
Yeah, a lot of drivers with not a whole lot of place to go, and that was a hard impact to the back of that 24. I would imagine that is going to be substantial damage that he's going to have to try to get fixed in short intervals in order to beat the pace car. Again, this new damage model, as you mentioned, is sometimes more forgiving than what we had, sometimes less forgiving. It all depends on where you take that hit. Now, luckily for him, that was pretty much square on the rear bumper, so I don't think anything mechanically should be too messed up. Just some aero work needs to be done. But right now, we are looking at a pretty strong top 4, including Slaughter, who I'm reading. Again, I'm new to the league, but I'm reading that Slaughter won this race last year. So very strong car back there, looking to maybe double down.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, he is really good at these short tracks, and a driver who I'm very surprised is good at these short tracks, but at the same time, not as much, is Scioli in the 7 truck. He's been doing great all season, but he's really a road course guy. When it comes to the road courses, Scioli swept all 3 series at Watkins Glen just a few weeks prior to this race, the Cup Series, the Xfinity Series, and as well as this Truck Series. So he is really good at the road courses, and I guess some of the elements here, Corey, you can kind of translate from a road course in the hard braking zones, and especially bringing in the element of downshifting.
Yeah, certainly the case. Wheel spin, wheel hop, hitting your apex, and trying different lines, and all definitely comes into play here. Shifting, I'm just going to be very grateful that I'm not driving, because shifting at Martinsville just goes beyond anything that my brain accepts, but especially if you're bringing that into the mix as well, really having to mitigate, match the RPMs and not messing up in that capacity definitely brings you into a difficult situation here at Martinsville. But I do want to go back to the damage model and what we will look forward to, and for people maybe not as knowledgeable. So from what I understand, and we've already seen it, the damage model takes parts off very easily, as we saw with Jacob Bell, but you'll be able to run door to door. You'll be able to slam the wall a little bit. But the one thing these guys will have to really worry about is hitting those wheels. Those wheels, you can break your suspension here, almost like paper mache here. So while you can door each other, and a lot of these guys will get in wrecks and they'll recover and hang on, really got to watch that literal wheel-to-wheel contact, because that tends to be very sensitive.
Yeah, and luckily, no toe links on these trucks here, so we don't have to worry about that like you do in the Cup cars of bending a toe link and having a huge issue of not being able to steer. So a little bit more rigid in these trucks. Is Cameron Hearn going to be on the point this time? Scioli in the 7 truck just to his outside. Now J. Elwood lining up in the 3rd spot as we go through the Geico restart zone, and the green flag waves, and Hearn with another great restart there. That was kind of a checkup there on the outside there, Corey.
Yeah, that was a bunch of mistiming there, and I thought you were going to go, and nobody did. So ultimately, a little bit of checkup. Luckily, everybody managed to get through. Now, will they get through 3 and 4? That's a separate question, because they're still in pace lap formation. David Weishart in the 29, he's in the middle of that gaggle as well. He's trying to work his way up through the field, but goes all the way back. Garrett Grant in the 42, he's on the outside. You have the two truck of Greg Mitchell, he's on the inside. All these guys trying to get themselves situated here but currently gridlocked, and that is the hornet's nest that typically is where cautions are bred, so hopefully we can siphon our way through this.
We did have a truck in the wall there momentarily. I couldn't quite make out the number. I believe it was the 16. And he does it again. He's going to scrape the wall on the back straightaway, so he's got to get that thing just about half a lane lower.
Tom Bourne, that is.
It's a Tom Bourne, a little bit of right side damage, but as you said, as long as you keep the tires underneath you, not too big of a deal. Another driver getting into that wall, and that's the thing, man. We have no real estate out here. We got drivers 2, 3 wide trying to exit these turns, and that outside wall, it'll sneak up on you.
Yeah, they were just 3 wide there going off into turn 3 as a truck goes around on the bottom of the racetrack. And that was just around JT Poole. JT Poole went in the inside wall down the back straightaway. Yeah, and AJ Roderick gets the wall coming out of 2, but they were 3 wide going into turn 3 after just getting a little loose there, and that just carried over to the exit of turn 4, and AJ Roderick unfortunately gets the worst out of that battle there, but doesn't look like he hit anything too hard, so that truck still should be okay.
Yeah, Roderick got loose there. Due to the cut that sentence off right there. Bobby Tinch mutilates the fence here, and that will put us under yellow here. Don't have to worry about trying to find the cause of that caution because I've caught it live, which is always a blessing as a commentator here. Let's go back on replay, and we'll kind of go back a little ways here and figure out where this stemmed. Yep, just a right-hand hook, and I mean, just pretty much straight in the wall. Plain as day there.
Yeah, definitely not intentional. I think it's just a game of, these guys are so close together. And again, stock cars don't have brake lights. You don't know what that guy is doing in front of you. So if he checks up just a little bit, and you've got a matter of inches to react to that, you're not always going to be able to slow down in time. So I think he just slowed up a little bit. The driver behind was not ready for that, and it got him spun around. And I think that's going to be more or less terminal damage. You saw the hood fly off, and generally, if you see that happen with this damage model, you've got some engine issues, which is never good.
Absolutely not. And somebody who I'm surprised doesn't have any motor damage. His driver's still not electing to come down pit road this time by, but is the number 2 machine of Greg Binchel. The front of that truck is mutilated from the first crash that he was in. And that's one of the things I like about this new damage model right here. In any previous build with the old damage model on iRacing, that truck is done for the evening. You have absolutely no chance of even staying in the top 20. Currently, Greg's in the 11th spot, which you wouldn't think a little bit of nose damage at a short track matters, but these trucks, if you got any nose damage with the old damage model, you had no horsepower left. You'd press in the clutch and you'd be sitting at 800 RPMs. So really nice to see these drivers able to beat and bang, but unfortunately that means a lot of beat up trucks right now.
Yeah, I used to relate the old damage model to basically being paper mache. You just breathe the fence and your truck was toast, but now you have a little bit more rigidity. I'm not quite sure if these trucks, I don't think these trucks have the composite bodies that a Xfinity or a Cup car has, but definitely have a little bit more rigidity than they once did. So you, as I said, you can short track race. You can, even the contact model from a physics perspective of internet netcode and all that fun stuff, it is a little bit more realistic in that confine. So you can pull off bump and runs a little bit easier, and not that we're advocating that, but the physics do allow for it in a more realistic manner here. So definitely some good updates here to iRacing, and a patch coming out tomorrow here, as a matter of fact. So who knows what will come in that. Sorry, his allergies are mutilating my voice here, but I don't have a caution count graphic here on these SimTV overlays, but probably gonna guess we're probably at number 5 right now. So hopefully we can get this situated as we do get one to go.
The record for cautions here, according to the information I was given, is 8. So we're creeping up on it, but not quite there yet. I also want to point out this has not been a fun 40 laps for the driver of the number 66. He picked up an EOL on the last incident, and now he's received an at-fault for that last accident, and he's got to do a drive-through penalty once the green flag hits. So that's going to be a ton of time lost for Blaine Harrison, driving through pit road on a track with borderline 19-second lap times. Got a lot to lose. So pace car off the track, and now we're going to see these drivers try to do it all again. They've been racked, they've been stacked, and out goes the number 4. barreling into turn 1. He's got the whole field in tow, side by side for third, but second is going to be secured immediately by Scioli, trying to run down that fourth. But look at that lead he accrued just through 1 and 2. That's nearly 3 truck lengths. We've not seen anything like that yet.
Absolutely not, and his restarts have been impeccable since he got to the point. Hearn just gets on the loud pedal and absolutely gaps everybody behind him, and Scioli got really lucky on that restart to be able to file into the inside, but this battle for third rages on as Brad Slaughter just can't quite get down to the bottom of the track as Alan J. Elwood holding tough on the inside, and a bunch of drivers behind them just trying to stay tough and see what happens, see what part of the racetrack moves here. I think as we're getting deeper into this run, and I know, Corey, you had talked about the tires cycling and, you know, getting a little crazy and not being able to handle as much on the top as you see the 8 machine fall down of Brad Slaughter to the bottom of the track. But I feel as we progress through this run here and these tires really start to get some wear on them, the top might be a useful place to go, because as those tires wear out, you can't get on the throttle unless you have the wheel straight. And if you have somebody on your outside, you could still have to be turning coming out of the corner and really trying to hold it to the bottom. So I feel like the outside will come back, but as for right now, this inside line is moving and grooving, and the field is, well, single file all the way back through 15th.
Yeah, well-known secret here on short track is when everybody is slow, single file right on the bottom, that's when the outside can definitely come into play as well, because if everybody is slow and fighting for the bottom here, you can see this coagulation here of Weishart and Poole, Mitchell, and company, 15 of Ricky Harden. Everybody's fighting for the bottom, so if you have the speed, go fight them on the outside. You could pick off 1 or 2. We saw that at the Cup Series North Wilkesboro All-Star race with Michael McDowell. Everybody's slow on the bottom. You know what? I'll send it up top. I'll pick off some spots there. As that is, again, Harden. Well, he's not using that outside to his success there. Loses the spot to Poole. And now Weishart looks like he will let him get back in the line.
Yeah, I think the reason he was struggling on that high side is mostly just the handling of that truck. You can see him really fighting that steering wheel through the turn, getting a little bit sideways. He's bounced it off the wall a time or two. I don't know if that has anything to do with the handling as we do go on board with David Weishart. He's right behind that number 15. And I don't think that 15 is the only one fighting the wheel. Keep your eye on those red gloves, and you're going to see a little bit of counter steer coming out of these turns, as these trucks are not exactly the most planted at a track like this. But man, oh man, through that windshield, that 15 just seems to be skating on top of the track. I don't know what exactly is going on with the setup, but might want to do some work on that in pit road if you can.
Now, this is the rear bumper of Ricky Harden. You can see Weishart absolutely mutilating it.
Yep, and I believe another caution out here on the speedway.
Oh, yep, that is the case. If anybody has a cue to that, because it didn't bring up anything on the back-end telemetry here.
Yeah, and I'm not quite sure either. I'm going back and looking here, and it doesn't look like there's any trucks specifically around here. I don't know if somebody just got really sideways and it possibly brought out the caution, but I'm not quite seeing what may have caused it here.
We're just past lap 50. I'm almost inclined to believe that was an admin called caution, but that's not the case. It doesn't appear to be called that way. Just a little bit baffled here. I think you might have nailed it when you said somebody just got sideways.
Well, I believe the driver that had gotten sideways was Ryan Swan in the number 1 truck coming to the completion of lap 50, going through turns 3 and 4. I see him popping up as very slow up against the wall, so that possibly could have been a problem. But pit stops for our leaders. Ricky Harden stays out. Cameron Hearn works his way down pit road. Scioli follows just behind him. Weishart stays out. Elwood comes down pit road. A huge division between the top 15 to 20 here of who comes down and who stays out here, Corey.
Yeah, we'll try to get organized here once everybody exits the pits here, but we will have a plethora of strategies here and stints and tire strategies and all that fun stuff right now. And once everybody situates through, I'll be able to decipher this, but we can definitively say that Ricky Harden and David Weishart have yet to come to the pit, still on their 54 lap runs right now. You have Danny Ware, who is 17 laps into his run. You got Curhan 25, Bourne 16, Irvin 26, Wineland 14. So basically 3rd through 7th is on modest tires. The top 2 are on race beginning tires, and then everybody else basically from Scioli on back in 8th is going to be on a fresh set of Goodyear Eagles here. So we will see how well this works. Are we going to have a huge stack up as tire strategies domino together, or is somehow this all going to work out? Well, I guess we'll have to watch and find out.
Well, it's going to be up to the drivers to sort it out. We are going to see a huge accordion effect because the drivers up front are going to be the slowest and the ones in the back are going to be the fastest. But as we've established here tonight, passing is not going to come easy. You're going to have to muscle your way through them or just wait for the right opportunity, wait for them to make a little bit of a bobble. Otherwise, you're going to be trapped in traffic, and you do have to be careful. You don't want to cause another caution and get yourself pacing. These guys probably want to get some green flag runs going so that they can work their way through the grid. You can't make up any positions here pacing, so gonna try and keep her green, but Harden staying out on those older tires, which I don't know, guys. He was already struggling with the handling of that truck to begin with, but now he's gonna be out front. The whole field's gonna be behind him. What can he do with those old tires?
Yeah, we'll have to see what he can do here. And just to bring up for the folks watching here, Ryan Swan was given the UL for the caution. So he was dubbed as the caution car. Whether he got contact or got loose on his own, don't really know. But he was the caution car and at fault for our yellow flag as the iRacing Mustang pace car pulls down pit road in the field in the hands of somebody different. Ricky Harden, already with a race win this season, going to lead the field back to green through the Geico restart zone, and he will get on the gas. Not a lot of wheel spin from him, but the 29 machine of Weishart on the outside looked like he got on the pedal, and it just didn't go anywhere, Corey.
Yep, that is wheel spin at its finest there. You try to get going, and the truck just says no, so he's going to be now stuck on the outside.
Oh, and a big wreck at the back down and going into turn 3.
Oh, yep, there we go.
My goodness, they're still wrecking.
That is a Waffle House. They are battered, smothered, and covered in turn 3 here.
Yep. The 7 is backwards.
Scioli. Yeah, the 10 is still backwards. That's Elwood. He is just, he basically just said, nope, we're going to do a big loop here, and now this is going to completely screw up scoring here because the pace car has already gone through. Now, some guys have to get by, some guys will be scoring a lap down, leaders have to get through, so this is going to be a big hot mess here, but let's try and figure out something about what just happened. Whoa, did I catch it at first glimpse here? Look at me.
Yeah, I think that was exactly what we were talking about. Some of these drivers with older tires coming out of turn 2. I mean, this was at the beginning of our drivers that had pit. Scioli, you see Hearn right there. They come off the corner, and the trucks in front of them just don't go. You see contact with Scioli right there. The 8 machine, a Slaughter, gets in, and then it's just a slugfest going off into turn 3. Trucks trying to slow down, and that has to be at least a dozen trucks with damage there.
Slaughter got it from all angles there. He got into the rear bumper of the truck ahead of him, which bounced him backward. So he got hit from behind, which then spun him down low where he made contact with another truck, which then spun him up into the wall and started that slugfest. So that truck probably looking a little worse for wear. I don't think there's a quarter panel or a body panel on that thing that didn't get a hit right there. And he is going to come down pit road, I believe, as well as a few others. There's a lot of bent body panels to get fixed. I'm not surprised to see pit road as busy as it is. In the meantime, the 15 only lost a few positions with that very short run we had, so that is going to hand the lead, at least temporarily, to the trucks ahead.
So actually, the way scoring is right now, Weishart and Harden, the 2 oldest tire drivers, are still being scored as the race leaders through all of that schmuck.
You know what? You're right. Those are actually drivers that got to take their wave around in front of them. That is a good catch. I don't know how I missed that, but he's still in the lead. So who knows? This actually may have been the call, staying out on these tires.
Yeah, and I mean, from what we've seen so far of everybody getting into each other, nobody really settling into a groove here. 61 laps, just about to go down in the books under caution here. I think staying out might be the strategy. And something I do want to bring up, it's an irrelevant topic right now, but a driver that we saw a portion of their truck sliding across the racetrack earlier, and this is even new to me concerning the new damage model. Jacob Bell does have a new rear bumper on the back of that truck. So apparently parts that fall off tonight, guys, we can get new parts for it because they even wrapped it and put it back on the machine in the number 77 of Jacob Bell.
That is kudos here. The Florida Estate Builders Silverado, sponsor of the league there, as you can see on the top right, situating back and forth on the graphic there. But yeah, real world, they don't have extra parts, but in sim world, you know, they got a full pit wagon there of body parts there. And good job to them putting that back on, giving him a good shot at finishing this race here. But Hardin and Weishart, old timers on the front row, and we'll see if they can get it going clean this time by. Everybody coagulates together off turn number 4. Geico restart zone on that gas pedal. Green flag in the air. Looks like Hardin got himself going. Weishart got going a little bit better, but how does everybody meet together off of turn number 2?
I gotta admire the car control out of Hardin. I can't stress how difficult it is to get a good jump, even if you are the leader, on 60-lap old tires at Martinsville. But no wheel spin. He pulls out away from the field, doing a phenomenal job with the equipment that he has, and behind him, it is an all-out battle for second place. Weishart versus Ware. Weishart in that 29 just trying to eke him out on the high side, and he may get clear, but no. It looks like Weir is going to just dive it in a little bit deeper. That's what you got to do as the 29 gets loose. Weir continues to force the issue, but on the high side, player 3's joined the party. That's the number 16. We saw him involved in an incident earlier tonight. Well, now he's back up inside the top 5. Wineland right behind him, rounding out the top 5 in that number 21. Looks like a throwback scheme. Pretty good looking truck, but still.
Weishart in the fence.
Hard into the fence, too. That was not light.
Yeah, but I think these new tires are starting to prevail here. I've been watching the number 4, Cameron Hearn, who came down for tires. Every spot he has made up, started 11th on this last restart, has already worked his way up into the top 10 and well inside of it. Now going to be scored in the 5th spot when he crosses the line. Made every single pass on the outside of the racetrack. So those new tires are the place to be right now, as he's finally about to make his first pass on the inside of David Weishart to go for 4th place here.
Cameron Hearn on those 4 fresh tires, the best of the fresh tire brigade. He's going to get that spot. Weishart just doing a very, very good job. I personally know Weishart is a very good driver here. I actually raced him years ago here in a league and managed to beat him, and he did not make it easy, as he is not making it easy for these guys to make those passes. Pulled off the Ryan Newman, being the guy that is hard to pass here, but he's hanging on as best as he can. But Hearn up to 4th and taking a stab at 3rd there, but door got shut by Tom Bourne in the number 16. Looks like a biffle sort of scheme there on a Toyota. But you can see that Hearn trying some different lines, trying a high-low, I think, tried to going high, cutting off and getting the run off of exit, but not able to do so. He'll have to try that one more time.
I've got to love it. Even though these guys have fresher tires, they have the faster truck, they can't just carve their way through the field. It's not going to be an effortless thing. They still got to fight for it. They still got to try and push their way through. And these guys on older tires, if they can just hug that bottom lane, park the bus, it's going to play havoc on these guys. And ultimately, the goal is going to be hold them back long enough that those fresh tires they have, well, they start to wear. The advantage lessens the longer you can keep them at bay.
Absolutely. And, you know, one thing to bring up real quick, we're seeing a lot of trucks that kind of have throwback schemes. You brought up Wineland. The 29 of Weishart also has one. You have to remember, last time these guys were on track was a throwback race 2 weeks ago at Darlington. So a lot of these guys might have forgot when they joined the session this evening, hey, I'm still running a truck from the 80s or from the early 2000s. So we're getting to see some of those cool trucks that if you missed last week at Darlington when everybody was running a truck to really give you that remembrance of how racing was way back when, you still get to see some of them this evening here at Martinsville.
Well, us as no, 16 and the 4, big contact. Here's another Waffle House. They are stacking up debris everywhere, swerving down the back straightaway. Terrible break there for Cameron Hearn, who's gonna kind of traffic break the field here as he's trying to get himself righted.
He Austin Powers himself.
Yeah, and that was Curhan that got into him as well. So Curhan, another one of those drivers on new tires, ran straight into him and ripped the whole left front off. So we'll take a look at this replay here, and I think this is exactly what we saw just about 2 cautions ago. One driver coming up a little bit, the other one coming down just a tad bit. And that right rear contact coming out and Hearn just hard into the fence. You see Weishart gets a little bit of it, the 42 machine, and then Curhan comes in to really end it off there. A lot of good wreck avoidance from the rest of the field, though, kind of swerving on through there.
Luckily, the debris not a collidable object here in the virtual world, because a couple drivers would have some flat tires from that. But you can see the 4 coming to the pits. Well, luckily we know that if he's in the pits long enough, he will get a new rear bumper cover. So at least there is good news for that. Hopefully for his sake. Actually, no, you can see that left front tire here. Try to get a good shot of it if I can. Of course I can't. But his left front tire absolutely mutilated here. And
oh, that's no good.
so that is not going to buff out rather quickly. So bad luck on that. Now, because I don't want to forget, it's not quite halfway, but it's close enough to halfway that I think we may as well do our halfway sponsor here for the league, rickshotsauce.com. Race fans, be sure to check out rickshotsauce.com for some of the best hot sauces made locally in South Florida. Try the Lokahatchee Classic, Golden Garlic, Palm Beach Pineapple, or South Beach Heat. Follow the Rick's Hot Sauce Rookie of the Year battle in the Area Cup Series and see which driver will take home the $100 prize as the highest finishing rookie in the point standings. And I do apologize to Miami after last night. If
So the number
anybody knows about
16
basketball. Sorry about that.
The number 16 has been dealt an EOL, so he will be going to the back. Unfortunate for him with that incident there, as he was making up a lot of track position, had a good run going. Now he's got to try and do it again. He's 24. He's going to make his way out onto the track and probably the very next lap duck right back into pit road and get some more damage fixed up. He's just trying to make sure he doesn't go a lap down, but he's just cooling down the brake ducts, Corey. That's all he's doing, making sure he's got that airflow.
Yeah, and I think that just might be just the left front fender where it connects to the door and the front bumper.
Look at the deformative rip there through the contigs into the that's a new one. So kudos to iRacing. That is
he's
some
not
new
going
damage.
back down pit road. He's gonna run her.
I mean, hey, if anybody can come out here and run with no fender, Michael Herhan would be one of the people to do it. So he's in good shape from how fast we've seen the truck. Maybe he'll just be a normal pack runner here as we go through the rest of the race, Corey.
We'll see what the case is here as again we close in on halfway. Still have about 30 drivers on track, 23 of which on the lead lap here, coming into the second half of the event here at the Martinsville Speedway. But Ricky Harden still has yet to pit in the race, still on his original set of tires, leading the field down, gets on the accelerator, green flag in the air. You can see JT Poole, he's trying to take second there from Danny Ware, and I think he'll get that with ease here off of 2. Ware trying to hold on the outside, not going to be able to do so. There goes the throwback of Eric Wineland. He's going to try to fill in the gap.
Now, Ricky made a good point earlier when he said that when the driver's tires get a little bit more worn, the outside becomes more viable simply because they can't really get on the throttle. They can't carry the momentum on the low side. The problem here is that all these drivers up front are on such drastically different strategies on such varying ages of tires that some drivers can hold the bottom, some drivers can't. And that's where we're seeing a lot of these battles break out. The number 29 getting aggressive with Ware. So Weishart and Ware, this is the story we've seen all night long, but unfortunately the 29 and Weishart had to lift a little bit, and now he may fall to the clutches of Beckner, who's trying to get that position on the high side. Gets a really good drive down into the corner. He's going to get about half a truck length clear, but not all the way, as a little bit of contact, a little bit of a half spin got him down into the 29, but he is now clear into the position.
Yeah, but if we're going to be watching for some contact, it's battle up here for the lead. JT Poole closed the gap on Ricky Harden, has gotten to the back bumper, and there's the contact I was talking about. Out of the back rear bumper camera of Ricky Harden, you see the 26 machine of JT Poole giving it to him as they go through turns 3 and 4. Harden's going to take a huge arc to the outside, still holding tough on the outside of that 26 machine of Poole. And Poole is one of the drivers on new tires. He's actually the furthest up right now if he can complete this pass on the new tires, and he will be as he forces Harden up the racetrack a little bit. This battle raging on, and he gets the lead before the caution comes out.
Yeah, try to find the cause. Looks like it may be Beckner and Ware. They were just battling, and battle has ended in drastic fashion. Let's take a look at replay once more.
So the 49 machine goes around here off the front of Beckner. coming out of turn 4, and ooh, who was that on the bottom?
Better look at that here from the top down. Cam, little contact here, tries shoving him up the track, and then tries fitting in the gap. Was the gap there? You can answer that yourself.
That was Scioli on the bottom that just barely made it by the 49 machine.
Was that the, I can't quite tell who that was, the 75 of Ryan Olson. I want to get an on board here of Olson because he snuck through that one like a boss.
Oh, man.
I don't really have a good nose cam here, but this one will suffice. Basically his on board. Oh, let me go, let me go. Ooh, hoo, hoo.
What a piece of driving. That was great. Now, while these drivers get it sorted out, I do just want to remind the viewers at home, be sure to check out shop.areairacing.com for merchandise to represent your favorite drivers and teams. Shop from our brand new selection of champion t-shirts, jackets, hats, and more. Easier to shop, quicker to ship, better to wear. That is shopareairacing.com.
Right on cue. Wait, what's 85 times 2? 1/7. Oh, that's halfway, so yeah, we're right on cue with our ad reads. I was a little worried about that because we're not quite, we don't quite have as many on our side, but I think we covered the whole list, so kudos on us doing our job here today on the evening. But halfway, guys, again, I don't have a caution graphic here to dictate the amount that we have. At least if I do, I haven't found it yet in this set of overlays, but I'd have to imagine we're pretty close to double digits, and we're halfway through the race. So looking at the attrition, we have 4 guys out. Harrison, Bell is all but out of the race, Tinch and Stafford. But we still have 24 guys on the lead lap. So even though we're wrecking, we're not putting guys behind the wall.
Yeah. And I think that has to do with this new damage model. I mean, we've talked about it the whole entire time. I mean, you can really get some damage on the truck. I mean, even if we look at our leader right now of JT Poole, has quite a few scuff marks on the side of that truck. You can see it all down the left side. In a previous build, you may as well kiss a top 5 goodbye with the truck that JT Poole has right now that he just made a pass for the lead in. So, you know, you can do a whole lot more with these trucks in the new damage model, and I think a lot of people are excited for it because it produces this kind of racing. Of course, we don't want cautions and, you know, people getting into each other, but really racing hard and being able to lean on your competitors. It looks like, I believe we're one to green here, that JT just chose the outside there, Corey.
Yes, he did. And of course, I don't know if we did say it, but we'll say it now, even if we didn't. Hardin and Weishart finally put some new Goodyears on their machine, so they will be back 13th and 16th respectfully in the Hornet's Nest with fresh tires. You can imagine how that'll be. They'll have about 20 to 30 lap fresher tires, and everybody they are battling. The Pool again, first driver choosing that outside lane. Is that some kind of team affiliation? Is that just what he wants to do? We'll find out, but he's on that loud pedal, gets the green flag in the air. Big wiggle from Dill.
Oh, no, they're wrecking.
Yeah, we'll cut
the
that
3
thought
had
off.
his rear tires off the ground. The number 2 hard into the outside wall. That was just some accordion effect, I think, stemming from some wheel spin. The 29, Weishart getting himself corrected.
Yeah, I think you talked about Greg Mitchell a little bit earlier, Ricky, being one that has had a lot of issues, and he found himself in the mix to some more of them right there. Let's try to figure out where we should look at this one.
The stack-up started with Garrett D. Grant in the 42 machine, spun the tires really bad, or actually he checked up. He got onto the brakes as the drivers in front of him just stopped. There. Yeah, everybody just checked up hard on the inside. You could see Scioli up in the front there, and everybody just stops coming to the green.
Yeah, Garrett Grant. So let's go and check out this. Yeah, that was just you can see the checkup started even ahead of him, but it just became a lot worse once it got to Garrett Grant, and then David Weishart probably got the worst, the initiation part of that. You get to see everybody else funneling in there, so just a matter of it's what causes traffic. And I actually looked this up in the real world. There's a certain corner on a highway that I live on, and every time you go through that corner, there's traffic. There's no cause of it, there's no accident, there's no police, there's no nothing, but every time someone goes through this corner, eventually it causes traffic, and you get through it and it's fine. But what happens is it's reaction. One guy will slow down a half second, the guy behind slows down by a second because he's reacting, and then it's 2 seconds, so then it's 3 seconds. So by the time that chain reaction gets back to 15th, it basically turns into a hard stop, and we're back to what we just saw there. So that's why everyone tries to say hold pace speed, hold pace speed. That way we don't have that, but it's very hard to get 25 guys to go the exact same speed and fire off at the same time. It's never going to happen. So it's just kind of one of those racing anomalies.
Absolutely. And just to bring up, to kind of add a little bit of lore to the story, teammates 1, 2, 3 right now for Go Slow Racing of JT Poole, Eric Weiland, and Dylan Lee. So those drivers, that might have been why I didn't even notice that JT Poole took the outside of Eric on that restart. You know, we definitely have some team games going on here up at the front of the field with now the top 3 locked down by a team. I mean, it's going to be a little difficult for anybody else to infiltrate that, at least on a restart here. They're going to have to get by him long into a run, and hopefully they can get a few on by some of those drivers.
When you do get teammates up front here, definitely helps out with coordination of the restarts, which I think that kind of dictates what we just saw with Poole taking the outside last time, but he will take the inside this time, so maybe that was decided against in the team chat, in the team communications there, but we'll see how it works out if the 25 can get a good start. And then, yeah, Philip York, our Martinsville incident champion, per the pre-race analytics here, so I don't know if he wants to try to keep that championship intact here. But pace car is in. Let's try this for an umpteenth time once more. JT Poole will get us on the loud pedal. Green flag back in the air. He gets that good jump. Let's see if the 21 can clear for second. Yes, he will.
So they're going to get single file for the top 5. Then we got a 2-way battle. The number 12, who again, earlier in the race was given an EOL. He's raced his way all the way back up. And look at that. The number 7, who not too long ago was facing the wrong direction, he's back up inside the top 10. We know that number 7 machine of Scioli is fast. So we'll see what he can do. He's going to be side by side with Bryce in the 09. And they're just barely going to get through that corner of the 7, nearly making some contact with the outside wall. But it don't get better behind them. They're still 2 by 2 by 2 all the way through. The number 16, the number 31, trying to rock that high line. Everybody fighting for this very limited real estate here at Martinsville. And there's the number 8. They were going to go 3 wide. The 16 shuffled out of line.
That's Tom Bourne. He was testing out the Harry Gant line, which, quick fact, doesn't work here. And he's just doing validation. He's trying it once more, or he's just trying to potentially go to the back. One of the two, but either way, he'll get relegated back to the 18th position.
Yeah, and that's such a bad feeling when you just get shoved way out to the outside, and if they're too wide below you, there's nowhere to go. You can't even try and race them on the bottom, as this is just a cluster right here. You see the slow lap truck of Cameron Hearn with the bumper still missing, so the pit crew hasn't quite wrapped it and gotten it ready to put on the truck, but they have it waiting in the pits, at least I've heard. So he will go another lap down
Elwood
here.
and
Harden turned into the wall.
Yep, Elwood and Harden, but we're still, there we go. We're going again. I saw Dustin Scruggs at the 22, the 6 of Justin Munsell. He's involved in another one. More calamity hits the paperclip here at the Martinsville Speedway. I guess we'll go back and catch the first incident, which we kind of caught it live, but we'll catch it from a more detailed perspective here. Just 2 trucks meeting for the same spot. 42 of Grant goes down low. I thought it was over at this point. But let's go back to the Dustin Scruggs. I want to see what happened to him here. Up 6 hits the 28.
Looks like he was reacting. The number 28 was reacting to that initial incident and checked up, and nobody behind him was expecting that. So the 6 just getting into his rear bumper, and that kicked off this domino effect, leading to a few drivers making an involuntary trip down pit road and a few others heading up to that outside safer barrier.
Yeah, I'm going to say Hearn probably wasn't in the best spot as a lap truck there. I don't know if he's getting back out on the racetrack. That was a hard hit into the outside wall for him.
Yep, he is 1 minute on the pit clock right here. So typically that is not a good thing, and he's already 13 laps down. And 4 positions behind him, and Oh, he just finally pulls it behind the wall. So Cameron Hearn has had enough here at Martinsville, as we are now at 68 laps to go, which under green flag conditions is only about 20 minutes. So this has potential to fly by here. And I talked in the pre-race, guys. I'd be interested to get your perspectives on it. I talked about the point of no return. Basically, where you make a pit stop, that it basically, regardless if you have the tires on the wall or not, it has to be your last one, just from a timing perspective. And I'm having to guess that that may be coming up very shortly.
I think it's kind of difficult to tell when the money stop is going to be. You know, some drivers might be coming down pit road thinking this is it. We got 68 laps to go. That's more than enough fuel, more than good enough for the tires to make it that distance. But if you look at the trends of this race, I mean, we've had a caution just about every, let's call it 12 or 13 laps.
That's a little optimistic.
So yeah, we're trying to be nice. We'll play it nice every 12 or 13 laps or so. So, you know, we could see a late race caution. I know last year the final caution of the race came with 19 to go. So I don't think this is quite over from a strategy perspective.
Absolutely not. I mean, it's just coming down to, I think the strategy has really thrown all of these drivers off of kind of who has tires and who doesn't. I know that we haven't really had the run to see if those tires can come to fruition the longer on that we go, but I feel like a lot of these drivers are battling for positions with guys that are 10 to 20 to 30 laps older tires than them, and they expect them to get up off the corner and they expect them to really get on it, and they don't. So I don't know, Corey. I think that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, it just turns into a very difficult ball game, which makes me glad that I am not on the toolbox calling these races. But JT Poole, he's probably been up front for the last 4 to 5 of them, and he's doing a good job. He's going to have another one in his hand right here. Gets on that accelerator. We'll see if the 21 can clear again. So clearly they have that tag teamed out to a T here. 25 will fall into third, and then James Scioli, you can see him in the 7 at the back of the shot there. He had his issues. He dominated earlier, was up front, and he's gone front to back here. Here he is joining the top 5 as he passes Bryce Senesac there.
Yeah, and I see right now Garrett Grant that was involved in a wreck 2 cautions ago, working his way inside the top 10 just on the inside of Alan Elwood, which a couple of people in the stream were really liking the way that 10 truck looked out there on the racetrack and made some comments in the chat about how beautiful that design was on the number 10 machines. So it's got a great design, got a little bit of a dented bumper, but, you know, Corey, I just think that adds a little bit of character, the story to tell for Martinsville.
Yeah, certainly the case, as they still are in a 2 wide formation. I saw some smoke puffing in turn number 1 region. It could have just been some lockup, or it could have been something that brewed has already dissipated here. As they come off of turn number 2, who is that red truck there? I think that may have been Mason Kane. I haven't said his name yet, nearly in the fence there, in that red and black Chevy there. Couldn't quite make out the sponsor. Toyota, excuse me. Don't want to anger any manufacturers there, but worth noting, going back to the front, JT Poole, once we didn't talk about him too much. You know, he started 8th, fell back to 17th, up to the lead. He's kind of got that clean air syndrome now. Maybe his truck is that good. Maybe it's the tires. Maybe it's just the clean air syndrome, but he's pulling away from Wineland, even though there is fresher tires behind him still.
Yeah, it's going to be about 0.6 of a second and counting. He is just pulling away little by little. And I got to tell you, you can mark me down as a fan of this new damage model, because when I look at this top 10, so many of these drivers we've seen involved in scuffles tonight. We saw Scioli involved. We saw Slaughter get into a few incidents. We saw Elwood. We saw Terrian. We even saw Beckner get involved in a couple incidents. So all these drivers, you know, they've swapped some paint. They've met the wall, calibrated it a little bit, and yet they're still up here fighting for a top 10 position. The trucks, well, they keep on trucking.
Yeah, and JT Poole out at the front right now is going to have to start kind of being a little concerned to this 7 machine of Scioli that is just carving his way back up through the field. Now currently getting on the rear bumper of Dylan Lee, trying to work his way inside the top 3. And these are 2 drivers that are what I would say staples in the Area Cup Series. Has some contact there, I believe, into the rear bumper from Philip York. Nothing he can do with it, though, as now he's in the battle with the 8 machine of Brad Slaughter, who's now stuck on the outside.
Slaughter on that outside lane, which, it's been hit or miss. It's been good for a restart or two, but it hasn't been good to make genuine passes under green flag conditions. So it's a matter of hanging on and trying to get that gap. Alan Elwood, will he play nice and give him the gap? I don't think at this juncture in the race that's usually what the ticket does read, but we'll see what does happen through the rest of the field. Largely single file, so maybe some patience. I mean, actually it wouldn't be patience at this point of the race, but whatever it is, everybody is managing to play nice, at least at this juncture. We'll see if the caution flag has some more waves in it and any strategies that may come up, but JT Poole is just driving off into the sunset here. 1 1/4 seconds on Wineland.
I'll tell you what, Ricky, I'm thinking one of the things hindering the outside lane from really coming in tonight is how many cautions we've had. We've not had a long green flag run where drivers start migrating up the track and putting rubber down up there. So it's a lot of dust and marbles because everybody's kind of favoring that bottom, and this race is not played out in a way that's really favoring it.
Yeah, and I feel like it's really hard to say here at Martinsville, and it has so many different variations that you could come to a track like this. This is one of the only tracks on the service where you can come here when it is 30 degrees in sim temperature and the track temperature is super cool, and there's a possibility that you could run above the concrete. It's a small possibility, but you could run 2 tires above the concrete and somehow still stay side by side.
Oh,
but
25.
when you come here and it's this hot in the 25, and I believe that's Scioli into the wall as they go off into 1.
Yep. Put it on the grill because that is a T-bone right there. Scioli in to lead there. That'll bring out the umpteenth caution here in the race. Let's take a look at what happened from the top-down perspective. That's been our favorite view here. I don't think the 25 knew that Scioli was on the outside, and Scioli just, whether he was stuck or just didn't feel like backing off. I can't remember where we saw that in the real world. I think it was with Larson somewhere. Just didn't back off and continued the T-bone. Little loose.
Oh, I don't know that I would have tried to stick a truck up there. That may have been maybe not the best call, but definitely just ran out of real estate.
But, so Lee, he is now 23rd. Now, some damage to the right front, which I'm trying to see if you can definitely see the right front fender pushed in. But more importantly is the tire pointing straight. That is the question. We do have a fair amount of pit stops here from about 12th on back. JT Poole, our leader, well, he has relinquished that title and has come down pit road. Travis Beckner takes Beckner with a 5.7 second pit stop, which would infer,
no tires.
Yep, as fuel only indeed.
Yeah, so he comes down for fuel only. That's a bold strategy, but I like it. If you're deep in the field, I mean, he pitted from 10th spot. So he was really deep in the field here. That gives him a good chance to stay up front. I mean, we just had the longest run we've seen all night, and that was 10, maybe 15 laps. I mean, if it continues to go with the trend that it has all night, he has a pretty good shot to stay where he's at. But fighting off a really strong truck of JT Poole behind him, if we get 3, 4, 5 laps in a row, he's really going to have to hold it down and try and keep that 26 machine behind him.
That is going to be a very, very hard task, that 26 keeping him behind, but we'll see how the lanes do shake out, Andre, because now that they're in the back, they don't have lane choice. We don't have a choose cone where, you're stuck in the position iRacing gives you. So if Poole gets stuck on the outside, which I don't think he will, that could definitely shake up this running order, and we'll see who gets that clean air if it even does come into fruition.
Yeah, again, Ricky mentioned the trend of the race being that we're getting a lot of cautions, and I don't exactly foresee that changing. We still have quite a few trucks on track. I do want to remind the viewers at home, we spent a lot of time looking at replays tonight, and we said it at the first replay, but we'll remind you again, tonight's replays are brought to you by SimWrap Market. If you head on over to simwrapmarket.com, you can get yourself some custom paint scheme templates for iRacing that are simple to use and that help you stay focused on the track, so big thanks to them bringing us these replays. And boy, we've had a lot of them to look at tonight.
Yeah, we again, I might have to bug Kyle on this if I do cover it on the way. I need a caution counter, but I can't fathom any way that we're not in double digits at this point. I think that's probably an optimistic bid, but we'll see what happens. We have, well, math. How many laps to go is that under? That's math right there for me. 45 to go, I think.
We'll say you're right.
Yeah, that sounds about right. 45 laps to go. Brad Slaughter, Jr. and Alan Elwood on the front row for this restart. Hardin, who was in an incident, and Bourne, who hasn't been in an incident? Everybody has, but green flag back in the air. Slaughter gets to run right to the top of the track. Looks like Elwood will clear to the bottom, and Hardin has his track position back. He's in a clear Bourne for that third spot. And here comes Gary Watterworth. I haven't talked about him in a while. Looks like he has the jaws on the front of that car. Truck rather, and he's trying to get himself something here in a good recovery.
Yeah, and it looks like JT Poole got into Beckner maybe a little bit there. Beckner had to chase it up the hill. He's lost 3 or 4 spots now on the outside of the 29 machine of Weishart. So it's really starting to get racy here towards the back, and you can see these drivers that took tires as we ride on board with JT Poole really trying to get through the field and get up to that 8 truck before Brad runs too far away.
Oh, there we go.
And
6 car round. Munsell.
It's the announcer's curse right there. We were talking about him, and it happened.
How many times has Munsell been in something today?
Much.
Well, he had a pass-through penalty earlier in the race for being the cause of 2, so at least 4.
All right, we're gonna go on the rear deck lid, the rear bumper cam of Munsell. That was basically that was like a pinky nudge that he was given, but it was enough at that juncture on the racetrack that's all it needed to send him around in that Raycon Toyota.
So the trend definitely not changing. Ricky, I think you called it right when you said that it was probably going to remain the same as we continue forward, and it makes it difficult as a driver. 5 sets of tires behind the wall. You started with a set, so that's 6 sets total. We've had so many cautions. How do you pick and choose as a driver when to come down pit road, what you're going to do? I mean, you kind of base it off what everybody else is doing. You try to gauge the field and read the room, see what the popular call is, but sometimes the popular call is not always the best call either.
Absolutely, and not to say anything against these drivers, watching the truck races so far this season and being a driver, if you were a driver in one of these seats here this evening, and seeing the trend of how the races have gone, of having quite a few cautions week in and week out, you have to take that into account as a driver. You have to understand that there could be a lot of cautions. I think a lot of drivers like Ricky Hardin have done a great job of really understanding that idea. Have a lot of cautions. And it's worked for him. He's currently in 3rd.
Currently, we're in the 3rd spot here as we're in 40 to go. So we're at that point now where, I mean, not that patience really has ever existed in this race, but it certainly is not going to exist now as we're in crunch time. Let's just kind of summarize the top 10 and the tire strategies amongst us right now. Slaughter 55 laps, Elwood 46, Hardin 46, Bourne 30, Wattersworth 31. Then we have York, Weishart, Wineland, and Weishart 10 laps, so very, very fresh tires. Roderick with 46, and then basically all the way back to 19th after that with 10 lap tires. So more or less your top 3, those are the ones that we're going to have to watch for. More or less everybody else kind of in the same ballgame here. You do have a couple guys all the way 20th on back that pitted that last caution to get themselves some fresh rubber. So I would have to say, I know we just talked about it, I think pit road is officially closed for anybody who just pitted within the last 10 laps. But it'll be interesting to see if those other guys can squeeze in another pit stop before this one ends as we get ready to go back green.
Yeah, I think pit road has to be closed as we get ready to rack them and stack them one more time, or hopefully for the last time here. Lap 132 coming to be in the books as we go through the Geico restart zone one more time. Slaughter on the point, the green flag waves, and a good restart by Elwood on the outside. Can't quite make it stick there, but he almost does. Still to the outside of the 8 machine as they're 2x2 all the way back to 20th.
Looks like that left front tire might be damaged from that contact. I'm seeing a little bit of crinkling on that fender. I don't know if that got to the tire itself on that number 10, but that could play havoc as we have a battle. The 15 and the 16 going to go into turn 1 door to door. The 15 on fairly old tires, but he's going to make it work as he squeezes that 16. And the 97 applying the pressure to both of them. He's not going to make life easy for these guys. It's not just a battle between them. It's a battle that includes that 97.
Oh,
Eric Wineland right here as the 15 gets sideways. Wineland able to just barely stay off the back bumper of the truck ahead. No caution as the 15 is able to save it, and that's going to sort him out side by side with the 42 machine. But a very fortunate save. That could have been a whole lot worse.
Yeah, and that was an astonishing save by Harden coming out of turn 4. I mean, I was looking at the door numbers at the end of the straightaway as he turned head on towards the inside wall and didn't even clip the inside wall. So a great save by the 15 truck to salvage what could have been catastrophic for his race this evening. But right now, Wineland in the 21 machine, that Sunny South Racing Ford F-150, is starting to show what he's got in the tank as he moves his way inside the top 5, and it doesn't look like he's stopping, is now trying to track down the 16 truck of Tom for that 3rd spot.
Yeah, Wineland trying to work his way up, as well as, I'll call him Captain Incident, the Martinsville Incident King Philip York, as we'll pause that thought because we are under another yellow flag.
Yeah, and it was Harden in the inside wall going down the back straightaway off the nose of the 31 machine. And
he wiggled and kind of didn't really give any room for the 31 of Mason Kane to react to that. Gonna go on board here with Kane.
So as they come out of the corner, you're going to see that 15 just get a little bit loose. And, I mean, you see how close it was out that windshield. There's no reaction time there.
Great job by Kane to not allow that truck to go completely right back into traffic, because that could have been a lot worse. He was able to stop it before it got back into the flow of traffic there.
Yeah, and I mean, that's very hard to do here at Martinsville. I mean, it's especially more difficult for these drivers that are avoiding these crashes. I mean, we have seen a lot of great moves of drivers just somehow making it through a crash, and well, that's a little harder than said to be done here at Martinsville.
Okay, says who is that getting a free pass down? Ryan Swan. So he's going to get the free pass. I think this will put us in a position. And I think, no, he's being scored 1 lap down still. So we're more or less him in a position where you're either out of the race or essentially on the lead lap. Ryan Swan is the only person currently on track that is not a lead lap driver. So we've had so many yellows that there is no 1, 2, 3 lap drivers. You're on the lead lap or you're basically out of the race essentially.
Yeah, you definitely want to play that correctly, but I'm really just trying to figure out what the best move is going to be here for Slaughter, because as you mentioned, it's on slightly older tires. But if this trend continues, I have seen it before, where a driver on vastly older tires than the competition behind him, just by virtue of the cautions coming out at the proper time, they don't have to play defense very long. If they can get out front and they can just hold the field at bay for a few laps, that caution comes out, they burn a few laps, and they keep doing that till the end of the race, and ultimately you can win a race that way. I remember in the 100% Cup Series, Dustin Hall pulled a very similar strategy, and I want to say it was Vegas with 30 to go. ago, he was on 40-lap older tires than everybody else, but those cautions just kept coming out. And we may be looking at something similar for Slaughter. And remember, Slaughter is last year's winner, so trying to double down. He knows what he's doing around this track, even on older tires. The lights go off on the pace car, and Elwood got that great restart last time. He almost got ahead of the number 8, but just missed out enough to the point where the 8 could ride him up the corner and get clear into the lead. So maybe lessons learned from last time are going to help him this time.
Precaution that does come out. The goodness in the tires behind will start to go away, and Slaughter will have a more equalized situation with every caution that comes out. We've had plenty, so a lot of the Dr. Feelgoods in the back aren't feeling as good as they once were, but we'll see what happens. Once again, they're racked and snacked, and now they are let loose, and you can see the wheel spin there from Alan Elwood on the top of the racetrack, but they'll still be able to clear just hardly there over the 16 of Tom Bourne, and 21 of Wineland rocking that outside lane. It works on the restarts, and that's where he's going to try to take advantage of it with the send into 3. He may be able to clear him off of 4 here very nearly, and he will. Great move there by Wineland.
Yeah, and Weiland in that Sunny South Raceway Ford, just a amazing move, as now he's already looking to the inside. Not sure if he's going to make the move here on Alan Elwood. Can't quite do it this time, but that 21 machine is bad fast, and I thought he was just going to be out of it on the restart when they took the green flag as 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 trucks just smacking the wall there out of 4. But I thought he was close to being out of it as Weishart got up underneath the rear tires of that 21 machine, and we saw a bunch of trucks doing a little wiggle. There's another caution out here on the speedway, Corey.
Quickly trying to assess what happened. The 75 of Ryan Olson undergoing some incidents here. Oh, that's an issue off the front bumper of Hardin, it appeared from the long shot there. Let's get some clarification from the drone. Yep, that.
Similar situation to what we saw with Scioli, just trying to squeeze it on the high side between the wall and another truck, but unfortunately that truck on the bottom, just not enough room for a truck. Can't make it.
You always have that on our broadcast, Andre, the old Ayrton Senna meme, if gap car. I don't quite think, as you said earlier, there was enough of a gap, but it's a short track. You know, we're pushing 20 laps to go. These guys know that there's a caution every 5 or so laps, so you really have to take advantage of whatever green flag racing we have. But the problem is when you do that, that's what leads to more wrecks, so it's kind of a vicious cycle that never ends here. But we'll see what happens. The pits are open, even though the red light is on. That is just a glitch on the back end. Pit road seeming to be a dead place, and that is Ryan Swan getting his lap back. So now we are definitively in the position where every driver on track is on the lead lap all the way back to 27th position.
Yeah, and I'll tell you right now, Corey, if I'm the crew chief on top of the box right now, I already told the pit crew to go ahead and wind up the hoses, disconnect the guns. We're not coming down pit road again. I don't think there's any need. Everybody should be able to make it on fuel, and tires obviously not going to be a factor. I mean, even if you get new tires and you restart at the very end of how many trucks we have left, which generally speaking, there's 27 trucks still on the lead lap. So if you start at the back half of that and come down and get tires or whatever you may think you need, I don't think it's really going to help you too much.
Yes, absolutely not. You're not going to recover at that point. You might pick off 1 or 2, but then there's going to be a caution. There's going to be a wreck you're going to have to avoid. You're putting yourself in a risky situation when the potential reward from it is not there. You know, we're not seeing drop off, probably because we're not really wearing the tires off too much. So it all kind of coincides into a singular point there. But it'll be very interesting if Slaughter can pull this off. But we saw that number 21 Sunnyside Raceway, is that, I believe what you said it was, that Ford of Eric Wineland. He has the freshest tires, 28 laps compared to 73 and 64 for P1 and 2 respectfully there. So he was showing that speed, showing those that advantage, and there's enough laps for him to do it, and he's going to be in that position where he could very easily snooker second on this restart.
Yeah, and it's the Sunny South Raceway. Hate to correct you there, but the Sunny South Raceway machine, the number 21 a while in there.
I gotta tell you, I almost wonder if it would be even worth it to try to get second place on this restart, because if we get another caution and then you restart on the outside of row one, we already kind of talked about it earlier, it may be more advantageous to restart in third if you know there's more cautions likely to come. And again, with 20 laps to go, very probable with the trend of this race, the way that things have gone. The green flag is out, and Slaughter on those 70-plus lap old tires gets a great jump. But no jump better than Wineland, who's going to try to get door-to-door with the number 10, rocketing through the corner, but that curb's going to unsettle the truck just enough. The 10 can get a little bit free of him, and now through 3 and 4, looking back from the rear bumper of Wineland to York in the 97. That is, oh boy, that's cutting it close. We're in the engine bay, boys.
Yeah, that is contact there. You can see the wiggle there at the top of the shot there from Elwood. So he's on struggle street with those 67 lap old tires, and Wineland wants to get by. You don't know when the caution's coming. Every lap that goes by, is it coming? Is it coming? Well, there it is.
Oh, there it is.
That's Weishart going around. He actually didn't end up going all the way around. He was well sideways, but that caution was in the making since the restart. We were, as I was watching towards the mid-pack, 3 wide on 4 separate occasions. And I don't even think this was a cause of 3 wide. Yeah, he just gets into the 56 machine after getting loose, but a great save by Weishart in the 29 machine to not go sliding back up the raceway. And hey, would you look behind him? JT Poole starting to make his way back up through the field. He might have enough cautions to get back up there.
Now that is what I like to call an algorithmic caution, not in the sense that it warranted it, but the way that, you know, cautions are called here in the algorithmic simulator world. If you're 45 degrees sideways in relation to traffic, it will dictate a yellow, and he was in a lot of traffic, and he was probably close to 45 degrees, which caused that yellow. So Weishart back to now 18th spot, as now we're closing in. We're less than 20 laps to go. So this is what you would call money time. Pit stops were non-existent, as we foresaw there. Pit crews are putting those pit boxes away, but there's no tunnel here at Martinsville, so they are stuck until the rest of the race, whether they want to or not. So we like to do this here on our channel, Andre, so let's bring it over here to Sim TV and bring in Ricky into the mix. Take your picks, guys. Who's taking the grandfather clock?
Tell you what, I think I'm going to go with Slaughter. It's the easy pick. He's out front. He won last year, and I think the cautions have played havoc on everybody's tires and everybody's strategy just enough that the disadvantage of being on old tires isn't impacting him and dragging him back like it normally would. So I'm going to take that number 8 truck.
I do just have to cut you off very quickly. Very big update. Jacob Bell got one of his 34 laps back. So, anyways, carry
Only
on.
33 cautions to go.
It's possible.
Ricky, you're up.
Yeah, you know, I'm going to be biased. Okay, I'm going to be biased here. The 21 machine of Weiland. I don't know if it's the fact that I made the paint scheme and the truck looks good and I want him to get into victory lane because the truck looks like that, or just the fact that he's been fast. He's been in good spots, and correct me if I'm wrong, that's probably one of the cleanest trucks that's in the top 10 right now. I actually don't see any damage on that 21 machine. We look right in front of him to the 10. Well, we talked about the new damage model, but I mean, he doesn't have a whole lot of damage. Now, with 14 laps to go, it's likely to change. But as for right now, that 21 machine is sitting pretty with no damage, and I'm going to go with the cleanest truck on the racetrack.
You're pushing the commentator's curse card to its edge here, so just be very mindful of what may happen after the restart here. Well, I am not a Ford guy, so I have to go and just pick a not Ford, just because that's what makes my brain happy. But I'm going to go with Captain Incident. I'm going to go with Philip York. He also is on the same tire age as Wineland, and he's going to be in the 4th spot. So depending on how this restart goes, he may be able to find some advantageous moments here. And we'll get those with 12 laps to go here as the lights out on the pace car, getting cars and trucks mixed up here, heading down the back straightaway. Is it the last time? Is it not the last time? I'm going to bet probably not, but let's see what happens. Pace car pulls in. Brad Slaughter has nailed these restarts for the last probably 8 of them. Can he get the 9th one? Can Elwood get on the power without the wheel spin? Let's find out together here. Coming off a 4 into the restart zone. Accelerators pressed. It looks like Elwood got a good jump from the restart, a smooth jump. but Slaughter just has too much power there.
Yeah, Slaughter has been really good on these initial starts. Of course, being the leader, you have a bit of an advantage. You get to choose when the field goes. But the number 10 has not been a slouch. He's been going pretty much in sync with the leader about as much as you can from second. But here comes Ricky's pick, the number 21 of Wineland. He's played this race so smart all night long. Going to Ricky's point, that truck still looks clean after 160 laps. One of the few drivers up here in the top 10 that we've not seen really involved in any of the cautions. He's just been playing the patience game all night long. But now as we cross the line for 10 to go, the time for patience is long in our rearview mirror. It is time to go. And that's what Wineland's trying to do. He's going to pinch that number 10. And as we go on board with York in the 97, he's watching these guys battle. He's thinking, I got nowhere to go. These guys got to sort this out. I got to get up there with them fresher tires. But still, it looks like Elwood is going to hold strong on the high side, and the 21 of Wineland not able to get clear yet.
Yeah, and Wineland's really going to have to push the issue on the exit of the corner and almost force the 10 truck of Elwood way up the racetrack so he can get by him here, because staying on the bottom is not working. As will he finally clear him out of Ford? Not quite yet. This battle for second is really letting Brad Slaughter pull away as almost a second gap, and now to a second gap here between him and the front or the back two.
You can see there on the top of the shot there, that little dot, that is Brad Slaughter, who is now 1 second plus. His battle for second, of course, very important. That spot is a point, that is a very valuable point there, but it's taking your shot at the win away as we're at 7 to go, and I'd be absolutely flabbergasted if we finish this thing out, but this thing could finish out 6 laps to green, and this could be, a lost opportunity for Wineland. I think he's finally going to clear, but or will he? Because Elwood's still sending it there. Nope, finally Wineland will clear, but a second and a half in 5 laps, that is a very hard task to accomplish.
Yeah, and I think that battle just lasted way too long for the 21 machine. He's going to be on catch-up mode here for the next 5 laps to see if he can get to the back bumper of Brad Slaughter, but he has pulled away right there, and I don't think there's any shot of the 21 machine getting to him.
I think he can get there, but making the pass is going to be a completely different story if he is to get there. It is going to be 4 to go now for our leader, Brad Slaughter. 1.2 seconds, the advantage 1.4 as they come out of the corner. It could just be that we've had enough cautions that those heat cycles have really played havoc on Wineland's tires. The advantage not as big as we would have expected. The battle for third, however, we've got a crossover move as York is trying to take that final step on the podium, and there's contact.
Is he going to save it?
Sliding the outside wall.
No caution. Oh, there it goes.
And he's
off the track. He's in the garage area. That's not a caution. He's in the pit road area. That's off the racing circuit. Barney's not going to throw that one. We're going to stay green.
That was really close.
Because I can almost guarantee you he also got a speeding penalty. If I know how Martinsville works in this game, the area he slid through is considered pit road.
And Brad Slaughter cannot see that white flag any quicker because he needs it to certify that there's no green light checkers. We're going to race this thing out. Somehow we're going to go 10 plus laps to finish this thing out. Brad Slaughter on the older tires, 94 to be 95 lap old tires on that Lumar Silverado, but it's going to be just enough here. The heat cycles, the strategy, the fast truck, Brad Slaughter, he's going to grab himself a grandfather clock here and win an Area 51 Truck Series.
And I believe that might have been the longest run that we saw all evening long right there, was the run out to the finish. And I'm going to be honest, I'm not upset about it. I think that we could have seen a whole lot of junk happen if we would have had a caution there with 4 laps to go. I mean, these guys raced their hearts out all evening long, and it finally got a green flag run, and I think the fastest truck prevailed here tonight.
Yeah, I mean, you could say in the booth that, do we want a green-white checker for drama? Potentially, but at the end of the day, you want the truck that deserved to win to win. That's what we want to see in racing, and looks like Brad will burn it down here on the front straightaway. We'll let him do his victory donuts and celebratory activities here, and then we'll soon head down trackside and talk to these guys in the post race. Looks like he is just about done here with his backwards burnouts here down the Martinsville front straightaway. Victory lane here in the real world at Martinsville, right there in that very spot. So let's go ahead and park him right there, and let's go down and give you the final rundown of results here today from the Martinsville Speedway. We have Brad Slaughter with that win by 1 second over Eric Wineland, with Alan Elwood in third. Tom Bourne with the fourth. Gary Wattersworth with the fifth. Bryce Senesac in sixth. James Scioli, he had the fast truck but just got relegated with incidents back to seventh. Garrett Grant, AJ Roderick, and then Dustin Scruggs are top 10 here.
Looking just outside the top 10, Danny Ware is going to be at P11 by 0.3 over Paul Urban in 12th. 13th goes to Mason Kane. Shane Terrian is going to take P14. 15 goes to JT Poole, who did lead a few laps tonight, just finding himself shuffled down the running order. David Weishart is going to be in 16th. 17th, Greg Mitchell. Ricky Harden, P18, and Dylan Lee is going to be 19th. Running out our top 20, it's Michael Curran.
And Ryan Olson in the number 75 going to bring it home at 21st. 22nd is Ted Wade in the 32. Justin Munsell in the number 6 machine brings it home 23rd. 24th is Carter Coop. 25th is Travis Beckner, who I thought was really going to work out with that fuel-only strategy. Unfortunately, didn't work out for him. 26th spot is Ryan Swan. 27th, your pick, Philip York. Didn't work out for him as he gets sideways, and he was the last truck on the lead lap and pretty much running this evening. Other honorable mentions out here this evening: Jacob Bell in 28th. 29th is Cameron Hearn, who ran so well in the beginning of the race. 30th is Blaine Harrison in the 66. 31st is Bobby in the 54. Bryson Stafford in the 32 machine, and Dean Thompson, who I don't believe turned a lap this evening, was out of the race fairly early.
Yeah, my pick always finishes in the back. That's why I don't play fantasy. But let's head down straight to victory lane here, and we'll have a chat with our race winner in the form of Brad Slaughter. So, Brad, a fabulous run here. 95 lap old tires on that Silverado, but all the heat cycles and the fast truck strategy worked in your favor, and you put it here and get a grandfather clock. Talk about your night, man.
Yeah, what a up and down night for sure. Finally got a good, decent qualifying run. Got caught up back there in the back there for a little bit, trying to work the pit strategy, and just really wanted to go ahead and get it topped off with gas where I could get to the end and then try to cycle back to the front. But got caught up there in a couple of those crashes there, got some damage, and was able to come back down pit road, put tires on it, and cycle my way back up through there. Just missed a couple of those wrecks, got lucky. It really was just about luck and just cycling, getting the cycle back out to the lead, and then having clean air there felt pretty dominant. Truck was really tight and dirty air tonight, so getting that clean air, having the control on the restarts was really big, and I really appreciate Alan and Eric racing me clean there. This track tends to lend itself to some dirty driving and some bumping and rubbing and stuff like that, but they both raced me real clean. They're class acts, so shout out to those guys, and what a race. We're back in victory lane.
Yeah, and one more thing, you kind of covered every base there, but one more thing before I let you go. One thing we were talking about here, of course, with the new build coming out, some new changes here to iRacing, the truck's new damage model, and seems like it was very forgiving because we basically saw the entire field wreck and still stay on the lead lap. So ultimately, was that a learning curve that you'll be able to take going forth with how these trucks react in these kind of races?
100%. That damage model saved me tonight. I had about 1 minute and 7 seconds of damage I think I did there on that one big wreck I was in. So and I only got about I think I still have about 30 seconds optional right now. So yeah, damage model was huge tonight. That was that's awesome to have that now. Also, and before I get out of here, just want to give a couple shout out to all my teammates on DWR, of course, and everybody tuning in watching. I know my grandpa and grandparents probably tuned in watching. Love y'all. But just one special shout out I want to give. My best friend is my best friend's going in for surgery tomorrow, and he's having brain surgery. And I just want to let Cody know. I know you're probably watching, man. We're thinking about you. We're praying for you, and we can't wait to see you on the other side, buddy. Everything's gonna be good. But just wanted to get that out there. Let Cody know we're thinking about him, and ready to rock and roll, baby. We think we got Atlanta next, so love the plate tracks. Ready to get the ATL home track.
All right. Well, good luck to you, buddy, Cody. There, and congrats on the solid run, man. Get him next week.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
And now Andre has caught up with second place. Thought he was going to have a shot at it, but too much battle in there. Eric Wineland with the second.
Mr. Wineland, you got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you, Andre.
Well, Eric, you ran one of the cleanest races, I think, out of anybody. That 21 is spotless, and you were not involved in too many incidents at all, but coming up just a little bit short in second place. Eric, what had to be different? What needed to happen for you to wind up in front of that 8 truck?
Well, I could give you a number of things. I mean, a wheel spun on like the second to last restart or something, and maybe the 2 out of the final 3 restarts. I didn't wheel spin on the last restart, but the 2 before that, I felt like a wheel spun where I gave away the opportunity to get ahead of Alan a little quicker than that. And then, I mean, racing Alan hard, I should have used him up earlier and ran him up the racetrack. I know I probably had the right to, but he and I have a mutual respect for each other, and we love racing hard. So that's what we wanted to do, and we obviously did that. I mean, I had a great time out there tonight, Andre. It was a blast. Avoiding some incidents. Shout out to Dylan Lee for helping me avoid one earlier in the race, and then yeah, unfortunate luck for my teammate there, JT Poole, as well with one of the incidents, but. All in all, Andre, solid night, and I can't thank the guys at Go Slow Racing enough. The team, Connor Okresic leading us, and of course Ricky Springer here in the booth with you guys. Painted this beautiful truck for Throwback Week. I decided I loved it so much I wanted to keep it on for another week. So shout out to Sunny South Raceway and the team over there for being on the truck. But yeah, it was a good night, Andre, and we'll take that. And also shout out to Brad's friend. Hope he has successful surgery tomorrow. I heard that on his interview, so praying for him.
We definitely share that sentiment. Good luck to his buddy Cody. We'll be thinking about him. Now, Eric, the story of the night was definitely the amount of cautions we had. And up in the booth, we were scratching our heads trying to figure out, when do you pick and choose to come down pit road? How do you figure out a strategy in such an eventful race? What was it like for you and your team behind the wheel going into figuring out this strategy?
I was a little off sequence. I was about one step ahead, I guess, if you will, of my teammates. As soon as the window opened up that I was going to make it on fuel, even with some of the yellows we were having into that calculation, I went ahead and took the first set of tires. And the next short run netted a lot of people down pit road because it was like 20 laps and everyone had enough. And that jumped our track position big time, Andre. And we were right there in the top 10, we cracked the top 5, kept it up. Heck, Go Slow Racing had control of the race there for a good portion of the middle with the restarts, and being able to work with JT and Dylan was awesome. And then when I told JT, I said, I'm on 30 or like 25 lap older tires. I'll pit when you pit. Well, we decided to make that call, and we got a lot of people to follow us, and that kept our track position up there. And had what I needed there at the end. Like I said, I probably should have used Alan up a little bit earlier. Didn't do so. And again, mutual respect there. So I'll take it. We were right on the cut line coming in. I think we were just below, like 2 points out. So we're going to be probably sitting at least a much better position with 4 races still remaining before the playoff cut. So looking forward to that. And 40 starts in the Truck Series, 0 wins. And I can feel that first one in the win column coming soon.
Definitely seems like it is. Well, thank you for your time, Eric. You got a good run out there tonight, and hopefully we're talking to you again next week there at Atlanta.
Yeah, Andre, I appreciate it. I appreciate you, Corey, and Ricky stepping into the broadcast booth after a last-second change for SimTV, and Kyle Heyer. Hope everything's good on his end with his travel arrangement adjustment. And then, of course, thank you to the guys here at Area that put on the show, of Ryan Hartz and Jordan Martin up in the admin booth, and, of course, Jacob Bell, the mastermind behind it all. Have a good night, guys.
You too. So that is Eric Wineland out of the booth, and now I believe Ricky Springer has made the long jog down to pit road. He's caught up with third place, Alan Elwood.
Yeah, and I stopped to grab a Martinsville hot dog on the way. And Alan Elwood, I think, needs one as well. A hard-fought battle there with Eric Wineland for the last 10 laps. You bring it home on the final step of the podium, which has to feel good with everything that happened throughout this calamity-filled race. Alan, how were you able to keep this truck pointed in the right direction towards the end of the race? And what could you have done different in that battle there with Eric coming down to the closing laps?
I think first I got to thank the cautions. They helped and hurt at the same time. It was really tough hanging out on the outside those last few restarts on older tires, and especially when you have people on fresher tires behind you. So I had to make it tough for him. I knew if I couldn't get to Brad after a couple laps, he was pretty much set sail because our tires were pretty equal, and I had to hang out on the outside as tough as I could. And Eric and I have been teammates before. We know each other for a long time now, and in the series or in this league, I should say, and. So we've been around each other a lot, and we know how to race clean. And I appreciate him not roughing me up, because he had every right to. He could have just pushed me out of the way and tried to go for the win. But we battled hard, and it was a good race in there at the end with a few of us there. And but yeah, I guess cautions probably saved my butt. I felt like I had a fast truck, and I was up there at the beginning, and then I decided to pit at a dumb time and lost track position, and then my luck goes in the middle of these races. If I'm in the middle of the pack, I seem to get used up. So just some tough luck at times, but we persevered, and thanks to the new damage model, we still had some speed, so I'm happy about that.
Yeah, and that was the talk of the night. The other talk that we had said so much about that really nobody's brought up so far, at least that I've been looking. How big of a factor were tires? We would see guys come down pit road, and in 5-10 laps, they would gain maybe 4 or 5 spots. Were tires really that big of an issue being inside of the truck throughout the race, or were they just good at the beginning and everybody would equal out?
You had to time your pit stop right for sure. I think if it was 30-35 lap advantage, you definitely had something there on the table that the other guys that maybe didn't pit. So if you pitted 10 laps, difference, that really wasn't going to make you a whole lot faster. And Eric had the right idea when he pitted, and everybody else kind of came down. And when you're in the front, you're in a tough spot because you don't want to pit. So they made the right call. And in the end, I wish I had had those tires, because I probably could have won the race. But it is what it is. But yeah, I think, like I said, if you pit far enough away from somebody else, then you had something for them. But 10, 15 laps, it didn't really matter all that much.
Absolutely. Well, you bring it home on the bottom step of the podium, and of course you'd always like to be first, but some good momentum going into Atlanta. What can we expect going forward to a completely different kind of racetrack, from a short track to a super speedway?
Oh man, Atlanta's, I don't even know how to describe Atlanta. It's chaos. They did what they did for a reason, and it sure brings excitement to watch. But it's pretty gnarly to race, and I know that you know that firsthand. And it's a tough place to race. You basically have to have a lot of luck on your side, and just put yourself in the right place at the right time, and hope it works out. So, I'm looking forward to it. It takes a little bit of the talent away, and you're full throttle and stuff, but you got to work at the same time. So it'll be probably fun. Hopefully, we won't see as many cautions as we did tonight.
Absolutely. Well, that was Alan Elwood who brings it home in the third spot this evening. Alan, I appreciate you talking with us as always. And, well, Corey, I think we saw about everything that we could see in this race this evening. We saw drivers getting into each other, some hard-fought racing, drivers 3 wide that it worked out in some instances, but in others we ended up with 4 or 5 trucks crashed, but a very entertaining race for the most part.
Yeah, definitely a good showing here overall. It is what you get out of a short track race. You're going to see calamity, you're going to see cautions, you're going to see some hard racing and tempers, but at the end of the day, we saw a good clean run to the end, and as you heard from Eric Wineland there, he could have roughed up Elwood to get by a little bit sooner, but didn't want to race that way, so good to see. And want to thank everyone for tuning in here to Twitch here for Sim TV. But before we wrap things up, any final words, Andre?
I think you guys just about covered it. I do want to give just one last shout out to the league's sponsors, Roasted Gems Coffee. You can find them over at roastedgems.com and use Area iRacing discount code for 10% off your order. SimWrap Market, they brought us 3 plays all night long. You can get yourself some custom paint scheme templates over there. And of course, rickshotsauce.com. Get yourself some top quality hot sauce. And that's just about it.
All right. So thanks to everyone for tuning in here on Twitch via the Area 51 Twitch, and want to thank everyone for tuning in. So make sure you stay tuned next week for the Atlanta race, and follow and subscribe to Twitch and help out the league. But that's Corey, Andre, and Ricky signing out of the booth. Have a great night, everyone, and we'll catch you next time.